beautiful rainbow. Here. Welcome to episode 400. Episode 1 was like 5.5 years ago, so that means I have been doing 1.3 episodes a week for 5.5 years. Fun fact?
1.2.
1.3.
Wow. For 5 years. Really been that long?
Yeah. So we thought it'd be a great idea to do a Q&A for this exciting episode, because there's people that were here in that first year watching my videos and still here watching all these years later. So I thought we'd ask us some questions that we get from time to time and some new ones.
Paerau broke his ankles in a rock climbing accident. Richard broke his leg in a snowboarding accident. What's really going on? Are Ray's legs safe?
Ray said to me the other day that he wants to go snowboarding, and I said, don't do it, Ray.
Don't do it.
The universe is not in your favor. Do not do this.
Touch wood. We've been meaning to go snowboarding, maybe try out mountain biking, but we're so afraid of getting hurt, and then we can't work.
Can't do it. I got a skateboard in my van with skate shoes right next to it, just in case, and I never do it. It's been like over a year.
Although in saying that, you did roll your ankle at a silent disco, and you couldn't work for 6 weeks, so anything can happen.
Next question.
Well, on that note, the number one question was, how is Paerau?
Yeah, it feels weird doing this without Paerau because we did episode 100 the same way, Paerau and I, and yeah, he's okay. He's good. He's still recovering. He's on crutches now. He has been for a while now. He's basically just focusing on recovery, and he's able to focus on recovery thanks to all you guys who donated very generously to him when we mentioned it on the channel a few episodes ago. So thank you very much. And if you don't know, if you haven't seen this episode where we brought up Paerau's injury, he basically fell during a rock climbing accident, landed on both heels and shattered them both. And as you can imagine, it's going to take a while for him to recover. So
that GoFundMe that Paerau's sister set up and that we talked about on the channel, it raised about $100,000 for Paerau, which is massive.
It's
and
bizarre.
Yeah, he's so thankful. We're so thankful. Oh no!
Where's a good builder when you need one?
Oh no. Yeah, Paerau's so thankful. His family's thankful. We're so thankful, and you guys just really pulled through. I don't think thank you will ever cover it, but thank you.
I'm hoping to get Paerau down at some stage. We've talked about it before the injury, so we'll see how we go. But he's got family history here. He's keen to visit. Stay tuned.
And he's always welcome. Also, if you didn't know, if you don't follow him on Instagram, Rich has also injured himself. Snowboarding accident. He has got the most gnarly scar from like here to here. And he has to pee into a tub. I don't know, he almost seemed like he was enjoying that bit, so.
Yeah, he's probably looking for any excuse to do that, wasn't
If
he?
you're not already, go follow Rich on Living Improvements, and then you can watch his recovery for yourself. So the most recent question was, when are you going to finish that kitchen, Jaffa?
When am I going to finish the kitchen? I hope you can see me. I got to start it.
Apologies. When are you going to do that bloody kitchen, Jaffa?
Well, I'm setting up the table saw, and the plywood has already been ordered, and it's arriving hopefully this week, maybe next week. So it's the next job, it's the next project. Maybe the laundry will come first.
Hey Scotty, you forgot your undies.
Okay, so the plan for this exciting episode is an explorative plan. This here is the top of the South Island. So for those who don't know, we live in New Zealand. The first couple of years of the channel we lived up here in Auckland, but we have since moved to the South Island, the very top of the South Island. And that's what this map is, the very top of the South Island. So this intro was here in Cable Bay, and we are going to journey in this exciting episode all the way around, all the way up here to the start of Abel Tasman National Park. Because this area here is now our home.
So a lot of people have asked how you're finding the move, how we're finding the move, and also how's business going in sunny Nelson.
Yeah, the move's been great. I hesitated for no reason there. The move's been awesome. It's very different living here compared to Auckland. Auckland's got 1.5 million people. Nelson is 50,000. So it's been an adjustment, but I think we've really enjoyed it. And I think a big part of it is because our lifestyle's completely changed. Not just because of the small town, but because we now own the house and we're renovating the house.
Yeah, I had to get used to everything being closed by 3 p.m. on a Saturday. The downsides of a small town is it does take longer to get things done and everyone's more relaxed. But that's also the upside. You can't have the same like rushing around, everything's on a deadline, everyone's got a fire under their ass as you have in a city, but then also expect the relaxed, fun vibe of a small town.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah, it's like two sides.
You know, everyone waves at you in a small town. That's the other thing.
There you go.
How New Zealand is this, by the way? Oh, is that okay? Wait, stay there. It's just panicking, yeah.
Any specific advice for a first-year carpentry apprentice starting next year in Auckland? Also, where did you get your tool belt straps from?
I'll start in reverse. I got my tool belt and the straps from a shop in Canada. Jess and I were traveling and we stopped in Vancouver, and I basically made Jess and our friends take me to every tool store I could find because I wanted to buy an Occidental leather tool belt. And as for the first part of the question, it's not going to be as fun as you might think for the first year. You'll probably get a lot of the crappy jobs, and you know you won't be throwing houses up. So try and stick it out. Try and see the bigger picture. Ask heaps of questions, and good luck. I hated carpentry for the first 2 years. It wasn't until I started getting good at it that I started enjoying it.
Stuff.
Live in Scott Brown Carpentry.
So Ray, what's your story?
Yeah, I read that. Just throw it out there, right? Where do you want to start? At birth or before that? No, okay. I'm from the Netherlands. Yeah, okay. I'm born in The Hague, in an area of The Hague called Moerwijk. My parents had a pet shop. So now it's getting specific. People might actually know that pet shop, right? But, then we moved to the Westland, which is like the greenhouse area close to Rotterdam. Did my teenage years there. Then started studying in Rotterdam. Lived there for 10 years. Met my partner. Decided after 3 months of meeting her that we should go live in New Zealand.
That's still
And
crazy to me.
Here we are and have that guy in the back.
Have you always been a builder, Ray?
I haven't, no.
What were you before you were a builder?
I studied for quite a long time, and then I worked in a few shops, then did public relations for an architect. I started doing a bit of furniture on the side, and then in New Zealand rolled into construction.
Is this your favourite job you've ever had, working with Scott?
It's fun, yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm enjoying it. I think we need to. Good luck.
Cheers, mate. It was too heavy to carry the whole sign. So all of that behind me is like the main Nelson Town Centre. You probably would have seen B-roll of that in the channel prior on previous episodes. This is the most populous part of the region. 50,000 people in one little spot.
We've had literally a month of like sunny, gorgeous days, and then today when we try to film, it's cold and it's been raining. But to be fair, this winter has been so good. If you guys remember this time last year, everything flooded, our street flooded. What colour are you going to paint the house?
Green.
Green. When are you and Jess going to release a Smoko time recipe book?
I think that's a good idea. I saw that question. I think that's a great idea.
I swear all I've made is like toasties and salads. This just tells me you guys aren't eating enough salads.
No way, man. Your cooking is next level, and I think it would make a great book.
I mean, I'm flattered, but...
So yeah, the cooking idea might be a way away, but people have been asking if you're going to start a gardening channel.
That's funny because I'm just looking at all of these plants. No plans. A YouTube channel is a lot of work. I would know. And we just don't really need that on our plate right now. I don't know, maybe in the future. I don't really feel like I have anything to offer because I haven't really been doing it long enough to know if any of the things I'm trying work.
Another question that came up was, what does Jess do? What do you do?
Bit of this, bit of that. Actually, that's true. That is the right answer. Because I do a bit of this, a bit of that for the business. So we run Scott and Carpentry full-time together. I quit my full-time job at the end of 2019 and we both went self-employed at the beginning of 2020.
Some timing that was.
Yeah, that was terrifying.
Yeah.
You may not be at work, but that doesn't mean you don't have a job. Your job is to save lives.
Well, no, in hindsight,
it was good.
Yeah, but at the time it was terrifying.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, yeah, I mean, the first thing I did was I redid the website, took over the emails and all the sort of admin processes, which weren't in the best state. What? I remember the first week when Scott was on site and I was at home and I thought to myself, okay, I'll give this a year, and if I can make the same salary that I was making at my previous job, then we can make this work. And at the end of that year, I had not quite doubled my salary. So, and that was a combination of probably tidying up all of our sort of admin practices, but mostly I guess I'm like your agent.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So I organise the sponsored content, a lot of the marketing and PR stuff.
Tool stuff.
In the beginning, I'd like write the copy for the website or for the ads and all that kind of, I won't get into the nitty gritty, but that sort of stuff. Yeah. What else have I done? Sometimes I don't know what I do.
You do so much. You do so much.
Because it's always different.
Yeah.
It's not, Like, it's not like every job I've had before this, my role was so defined and in a box, which I hated.
That's a thing. Yeah. I'm sure there's some self-employed people watching, and I think you can find this relatable because that is what being self-employed is. You got to do everything, especially when there's only two people in the business.
You wake up and you go, well, what needs to be done?
Yeah.
And that's my job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So yeah, I don't know, maybe that gives you an idea of what I do. It's very flexible, which I love. I was a terrible employee. I hate being told what to do. Oh! This is surprising. Oh, this is surprisingly cumbersome. Come on.
Stunning beach.
So beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Very nice. I wish I could zoom in on that mountain. It looks so great.
Sun on it? Oh, you can't. Doesn't. You need one of those cameras that has a really big depth of field, so you can capture the mountains and the tussock.
Are you starting to collect Milwaukee or still sticking with Makita? My philosophy with tools, even before the channel, was always get the best tool for the job, and if that brand happens to be Makita, Festool, Milwaukee, that's fine. I don't mind having extra battery charges, it's just part of it. And then since starting the channel and forming relationships with these companies, I was able to get a lot of the stuff for free. Makita and Milwaukee have been the two biggest brands in that regard. I'm not sticking with one or the other, it's just what tool does each brand have?
More tool brands, more tools, more fun, eh?
Yeah.
I never used to care until I started getting gardening tools. Now I care.
Oh yeah, another question that keeps coming up is Gaston. What's up with Gaston? Are you still friends with Gaston? No one sings like Gaston. And some people know that he recently had a break-in and lost a whole bunch of tools. I'm sure we'll bump into him, eh?
It's a small town, we'll probably see him around. Oh, who's that?
Oh, it's Gaston! Mate.
You want a kiss? No, it's okay. It's all right.
Welcome back to the channel.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great idea, and again, an amazing day in
Oh yeah, so sunny.
Nelson. It's so good.
So for those who don't know, Gaston was like the only person we knew here before we moved down to Nelson.
I remember just we went to the open homes when you were in Auckland.
Yeah.
It was a lockdown.
Yeah, we couldn't come down.
Yeah. So
you were my real estate agent.
and this is
So what you see on this side is the last window is a master bedroom. And then you got the lounge, and then you got that little bedroom between the lounge and the dining room that I don't really understand the room.
But more importantly, people are asking about how you've been since the break-in. You lost a lot of tools. He was on one of his trips down in Christchurch.
Yeah.
And you had it parked on the street, and someone...
It was just by the driveway of the place I always stay for the last 15 years in the middle of nowhere, pretty much. And very early in the morning, just to go home, and everything was open and empty, the whole thing. They didn't open the roof box, which had only 2 bags of onions from one of my customers, that he gave me onions. And the feeling of that was having the truck empty was terrible. Like yeah, it's just, and I understand a lot of customers and friends that they have the same happening all the time. This is happening very regular, on a regular basis. I do quotes for them. So, and then I came home, I rang the police, and then came home, so drove 5 hours thinking about it, and it was just awful on my own. But you know what?
That sucks.
Again, I mean, but it's been a really hard couple of weeks, and a couple of days ago was my birthday, and I wasn't feeling like super like wanting to do a lot because of this. So yeah, that's right. But again,
happy birthday.
Thank you. That could be a question, like people guessing how old I am now.
Let us know in the comments below.
Imagine. I need to refill the shelves.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. If you want to support Gaston, I'll link his website below where he sells all his tools. So if you're thinking of buying some tools from Gaston, now would be the time. Just in New Zealand, though, eh?
Just in New Zealand, yeah. We send some tools to Australia and sometimes to UK, but that's we do it manually. Normally people send us a message because there's some tools that we have that they cannot get anywhere else.
Yeah.
And so they can send us an email and we can sort it out for them. That's fine. Yeah. That's
Should we get a coffee?
Happy days. I would love a coffee, man.
Let's get a coffee.
Yeah.
Why haven't you been in the videos?
I've just been a little bit busy this year between a couple of episodes, like personal stuff at home happening, and then this last one was the cherry on top in Christchurch. So just busy, very busy.
Do you see more high-end hand tools in your future? Chisels, planes, saws?
Oh yeah. I see them all the time.
In your dreams?
Yeah, man, and in the flesh as well. Yeah.
So then in answer to that question, Scott, what high-end tools are in your future?
All of them. No. I'd like to get some hand planes, yeah. So we're up here in the Motiri Hills now, and I thought I'd do a map update before we carry on with the Q&A. So this is where we started, here in Cable Bay. We went down to Nelson there, that's where that cathedral was, and then we went down to the beach down here, to Hununui Beach. And we just had that coffee with Gaston over here. And now we've driven up to the Motiri, Upper Motiri area. So we started there, we're here, we're halfway. We've still got to get to there. That Cable Bay where we started is literally right there. And then we've gone all the way along, and those hills kind of represent the backdrop of Nelson.
So this area has heaps of like wineries and food producers. We spent a lot of time out here, but this one is one of our favourite, Gravity. It is a nice place to spend an afternoon.
Oh yeah. So another question that popped up was, why did we choose Nelson? Out of all the places in New Zealand that we could have moved to, why Nelson? Well, I think being here is a good place to explain why, because we have all those beaches that we went to this morning, as well as the beaches that we're still going to go to, and we're surrounded by mountains. And you can see snow in the distance and go to the beach. And what were your reasons for picking Nelson?
Honestly, I can't even tell you. This sounds real corny. I think we just vibed with the place.
Oh my gosh.
When we decided to leave Auckland, we both ranked like our top 5 places to live in New Zealand separately, and then we compared lists. Everything was different, but number one was Nelson.
Yeah.
I don't even really know why. But then when we started researching it, it's like crime rates, the building industry, the nature, sweet as beaches, but then an hour away you can go skiing. I don't know, it just made a lot of sense. And it was obviously the right decision because it's all worked out. We really like it here.
And a big part of it was we wanted to live in the South Island because it was so different from where we both grew up, which was Auckland, up in the North Island. And we now have access, like we can jump in a car and we can drive to all the Southern Alps. We can drive to Mount Cook and Queenstown and Wanaka. And that's what we've been doing over the last 18 months. So last time we were here was less than 2 years ago. It was while we were still living in Auckland. We hadn't even really considered moving to Nelson. And we were traveling around the South Island in between lockdowns. And we came here to Mount Cook, and the weather was terrible. We were trying to drive through here, and honestly it was like 100-meter visibility of that. And I had a moon boot on, so Jess had to drive. Jess was driving and couldn't see a thing.
Look, as far as I'm concerned, the South Island was all just a giant field.
Needless to say, we couldn't see the mountain. And now, I'm busy looking at you. The mountain's over there, because I've got every opportunity to look at it. And we've moved. We live in Nelson now. We drove down here in our own car. And there's Mount Cook, my favourite place in New Zealand. I can't stop seeing things. What extravagant, over-the-top luxury amenity would you choose to add to your current home without any regard for expense or price?
Sauna.
Sauna. Absolutely sauna. What changes would you make to your van fit out? What aspect of it bugs you the most? Ooh. Well, I haven't been using my van a hell of a lot now that we're renovating our own house, but to answer the question, I don't know, it's pretty good. I think it's good. I don't know if I would change much. There's a strange shelf on the back divider, and maybe I would take that shelf off and change it to like a pack out. If I just put those pack out plates on it, then I could just clip in different boxes. Very minor change, but yeah, that.
Why did you stick with the existing bones of the house and not add an extension or another level? I mean, it would have been a lot more difficult to do and would have cost a lot more. But also, in regards to like the size of a house, ours is 110 square meters. We've only ever lived in tiny apartments. For us, that was huge. I know a lot of people think that our house is small, but we've never lived in a house this big, and we're quite happy. We just figured we like the size. It would be so much more complicated to go up or go out. We don't need to.
And on that note, I often get asked, wouldn't it have just been easier to knock the house down and start again? Basically, when renovating the house the way we are, we already have the foundation, we already have the cladding, we have the roof. We're just changing everything within that footprint. And believe it or not, it's more affordable to do it that way. The main consideration if you're paying builders to do it is their time. And my time is free. And I get paid by YouTube to make videos about spending my time renovating my house. To answer your question, no, it wouldn't have been cheaper. Alright, so we were heading to Tasman, but we just got a call. Ray is at my house using the tools, and all our ply for the kitchen just arrived. So now we've got to drive all the way back home and bring it into the garage. This wasn't the plan.
Hey Ray. Did not appreciate that joke.
You look like G.I. Jane with your little backpack there. And no, not G.I. Jane. What's her name? Lara Croft.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
What was her name again?
Angelina.
No, the name of the video game. Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, we got all the ply. That's for the laundry and for the kitchen. And Ray's here building cabinetry of his own. I'll leave you to it, Ray.
Thanks. Thanks for letting me play around here.
That's alright. I like your outfeed table.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my style.
Make it up as you go. I love it.
Yeah. Bogan building.
What has been the most frustrating part of this renovation?
Just the delays and the renovation taking longer than we thought it would take. And it's just going to continue to happen, I think. Particularly because we're funding this as we go, as we earn. We're not borrowing a big chunk of money and using that to pay for the renovation. So for example, I should be booking a benchtop guy in right now, but we literally can't afford to do that. We've spent all the money that we have currently on floor sanding, which just got done. A paint is about to happen, we had to pay a plasterer, and we just ordered all this plywood that just arrived. And then we're going to start building it. So because I can't book him in, we're just going to have to wait, and then he won't be able to measure it even if I got him in until we've built the kitchen. So you can see how these time delays snowball, and then a job takes a lot longer than you think, especially when you're just funding it as you go. So I guess the last question kind of lends into the next question, which is how are we funding everything? Well, every bit of building I do, I try and film, and so far it's all just renovating our house. And the way we're funding things is two ways. First way is ad revenue from YouTube. So those ads that you see at the start of a video or at the end of a video, we get a proportion of the ad revenue from that. It's a sort of varying amount each month. We never really know how much we're going to get. And that's why the second way is super helpful to us, which is sponsorships like Squarespace, Surfshark, Skillshare is another one we did, because that's a fixed amount and we know we're getting it every month, and that's pretty much our renovation budget.
Yeah, so those sponsored ads like Squarespace, and we've just signed up for a few more with Surfshark, they were allowed us to move down here and buy the house. That's what convinced the bank to loan to us. So yeah, that's how we're funding it. We're not doing anything else. But also, as Scott said, we're just paying for this reno as we go. We've technically run out of money right now. We've paid for things like the kitchen plywood and a few other things, but we've had to put a pause on a few other details, and also Ray won't be with us for the next couple of weeks while we wait for some more money to come in. And that just means that it goes slower than we would like, but we didn't want to take on any more debt. So that leads me to some other questions we've had, which is how much have we spent? Well, at this stage in the renovation, which you have seen where we're up to, we have spent just over $120,000 in New Zealand. So maybe Scotty can pop a wee conversion up there. So that's not including Scotty's labour, that's just materials, which gives you an idea of how expensive materials are.
People ask if we're flipping the house. We're definitely not doing that. If we were, we wouldn't be doing a very good job of it.
We'd be the worst flippers ever.
We wouldn't get that return. We'd have to wait a long time to get a return on this investment.
Yeah, one thing that people ask us or warn us against is overcapitalising. Personally, I hate this term because you're only overcapitalising if your house is only an asset. But we live in it. We want to be comfortable, warm and healthy. And surely those things have a value. So yeah, I mean, if that stuff doesn't matter, then we're overcapitalising. But well, I want to be comfortable, warm, and enjoy my home. So.
And we're like speaking as long-term renters. We rented for quite a while, and we stayed in cold houses. Houses where you can see your breath inside.
Houses with black mold on the ceiling.
Yeah, exactly. And we always talked about how if we buy a house one day, we're going to invest the money and make the house warmer and perform well. And now we're trying to live up to our word.
So if that makes us over-capitalising, just call us the over-capitalisers. Because that's what we're doing. We want to hold on to it.
Yeah.
Is it our forever home? I really struggle with saying anything's forever. I find that really limiting, except for you. We're forever. We are forever. We are forever!
It's just our first home.
Yeah.
So I would like to hold on to it for sure and live in it for at least a few years and then see how we go. But if we can hold on to it long term, that would be great.
And then one day, if we do rent it out or sell it, then whoever lives in it next can go, man, I'm so thankful to the person who previously owned this for making this house warm and dry.
Yeah. Rimu? Kahikatea. Rimu? Kahikatea. Apparently I've been saying that wrong. Kahikatea.
We've been saying kahikatea.
That's not correct.
I think it's kahikatea. Does anyone
Sounds exactly the same.
Well, no, one's got the macron over the A and one wouldn't. So kahikatea versus kahikatea.
We're trying. Quite echoey in here, so let's go into what we call the snug. And pretty much, to us, it's an everything room.
This is where we have breakfast, where we have dinner, where we hang out, where we exercise, where we relax, where my plants are, where the guest bed is.
And now where we film the end of a video.
Jeez, it's the only room.
We need to know about the origin story of you and Jess. What was her first episode?
The one where I hid under your work table.
No, it's the one where you hid as I panned across. So here we are in Russell, the former capital. This is Jess Bell. Come on, Jess Bell, come to the camera.
Oh, that's right, the one we went up north.
It was within the first 100 videos.
There you go, I've always been here.
Always been here. Jess was in the line with me as we were queuing up to buy the first camera before the first episode.
And I remember we were in the car park of JB Hi-Fi and we had so little money at the time, and I said, I support you to buy this camera and I'm happy to put my money towards it, but you better do it. Well, you've done more than I ever could have imagined, so you were right. As for how we met,
Yeah,
at a party in West Auckland 11 years ago.
like all true romances.
But we didn't actually get together until we were both travelling through Europe. So I moved to Berlin and Scott had moved to the south of England. And before we settled in those respective places, we were both travelling, and that's where we got together. In Barcelona?
Yeah, Barcelona.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spain, sangria. You know what it's like. And then
Oh my God, that sounds horrible. Spain, sangria, you know what it's like.
We had like a bit of a long distance relationship for the first 9 months. I was living in England and then Scotland, and Jess was in Berlin.
Yeah, so we used to meet up in Poland a lot because it was cheap for Scott to fly there and cheap for me to get a airport transfer bus. So we ended up seeing a lot of Poland, like
Yeah, spent a lot of time there.
Stettin, Warsaw, Wrocław, Krakow, Gdansk, Sopot, all because it was the easiest place for us to meet.
Yeah.
And then we came home and then moved back to Edinburgh together and then came home from that and haven't left since for 7 years.
Yeah. Another question I got was, what was your time in Scotland like, and would you ever come back to build? I've got a video about that as well, about my experience there. We have been talking a lot about that, about maybe going back and building something there and other countries. Back in 2020, we actually intended to do a trip to Japan, and then everyone knows what happened in 2020, so we didn't.
Yeah, I mean, we want to finish our house and we don't plan to sell this. We want to live here, but we really want to travel. And if we can make videos overseas about carpentry, that would be amazing.
Oh my God, imagine Japan.
Oh, well, that's what we want. We want to go to Japan. We really want to go to Japan and Japanese carpentry. I mean, Scott is obsessed.
Well, that was a formative part of what went into the channel, was being inspired by things like that. So yeah, the idea that I could then go over and meet a Japanese carpenter and see what their tool shops are like, and that would be awesome. And there's so many other countries on the list as well.
Would love to go to the States.
Yeah,
There's
totally.
so many carpentry YouTubers that we'd love to meet. Love to go. We will go back to the UK. It's not an if, it's a when.
I've got so much family there. So thank you for watching this exciting episode. And a question that kept coming up was, how can you support us?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few ways. We have a Patreon. Every time you use our Squarespace or our Surfshark or any sponsored content link, that really helps us. And we've also just started something called Super Thanks. So there's a little heart just below, and it says thanks next to it. And you can donate an amount of money if you would like. You don't have to. I mean, just watching.
Just watching the videos, liking the videos, sharing the videos, showing up every week. We're so thankful that we have an audience that shows up every week to see what we've been up to.
And says such nice things in the comments.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, like we feel really supported by this big community of people we've never even met, like That's huge.
Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
I think that's enough questions. Surprisingly difficult.
Yeah, I reckon that.
Back to just building and gardening, I think. I just got a big pile of mulch and I got things to do.
And I got a lot of things to build.
Okay. Bye.